Guys, Metal Fan 230 here with a re-review, and as you can see by the shirt I'm wearing, I'm re-reviewing Dance of Death by Iron Maiden. Now, Dance of Death is the follow-up to 2000's Brave New World. Of course, now, for this album, there was a lot of hype and anticipation, coming off of Brave New World, where Bruce and Adrian had rejoined Iron Maiden. Of course, there was a lot of anticipation of what they would come up with next, and 3 years later, in 2003, and heck, this year's the 10th anniversary, but they came out with Dance of Death. Now, to be honest, this album actually at least sounds a bit different from Brave New World, obviously, but we'll get into that when we get to that. Production-wise, they used the same producer, Kevin the Caveman Shirley, who's not that bad of a producer. Production sounds pretty much very similar to Brave New World, kinda. Just in my opinion. Now let's also talk about the artwork. Oh boy, not one of the best Iron Maiden artworks ever. It's just a bit garbage. Like Eddie as a Grim Reaper, he looks pretty badass. But you can hardly see his face a bit. It just looks kind of shitty. They used, I believe, Melvin Grant, who did the artwork. He could do better, but I think the Basic Grim Reaper doesn't look that too bad, but what makes it really bad is the fucking computer-generated imagery bullshit. That just fucks up the entire artwork. It's just, the album artwork's just a bit poor. But enough talk of me ranting about the hunk of shit artwork. Let's talk about the songs, of course. Now, the album opens up with Wildest Dreams, which, to be honest, it's very much a weak opener. It just sounds very similar to No Prayer, Fear of the Dark kind of sounding. And the music video is a bit awful, is a bit CGI and just a bit poor. It's just a weak opener. Yeah. Next song is called Rainmaker, which is another one of the better songs on this album. Or should I say, one of the better songs on this album. It's a pretty good song, I have to say. Yeah. Next song is called No More Lies, which is another good song, I have to say. It starts off very slow. Then it sort of builds up when we get into it, and it gets faster until the end, I think. Which is another great song. Next song is called Montesquieu. I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah. To be honest, this is a filler type song, in my opinion. It feels like it's just a filler. And to be honest, it's another weaker type song. It's not as good, in my opinion. Yeah, it just feels a bit weak. Yeah. Then we get to the title track to the album called Dance of Death, which is a damn good song, I have to say. It starts off with the first 3 minutes starts off with a very much of acoustic playing from Yannick. And then it gets to that one riff that, and it sort of pretty much then it sort of builds up and it gets fast and just all over the place. It's a very good song, I have to say. Pretty good title track. The next song is called Gates of Tomorrow, which is another good song, I have to say. Not bad, but not as good, but it's just a pretty good song, I have to say. Why did I say not good? It's not bad, but it could be a little bit better, but it's a good song. Then we get to the next song called New Frontier, which is an interesting song. The reason I say interesting is it's also the first song that Nico McBrain actually co-wrote. He co-wrote the song with Bruce and Adrian. It's the first time that and probably think this is the only time that he actually wrote in the band. And he actually wrote the bass line, which is pretty interesting. It's just water. Which is Nico is a pretty good songwriter, to say. I wish he could have wrote more. But yeah, it's a pretty good song, I have to say. Next song is what I consider sort of the epic of the album, the song called Passchendaele. Now mainly lyrically I think the song is about war and stuff. Heck, I think it's about the war of Passchendaele. It's about, the song starts off with sort of a little tappy playing from Adrian Smith, which I believe, and I don't know if I've done enough research, but I've heard it's actually a Morse code for something. I don't know if that's true or not, just from what I read somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. But it's a very good epic, I have to say. One of the better songs on this album. great. Then we get next is what I consider another two filler type songs. First off is "Face in the Sand," which is a pretty good song or filler, if you want, whatever you want to call it. It starts off very slow and just has sort of a very much of a swaying feel to it. Yeah, and then the song sort of progresses and it builds up and it gets a bit faster. And it's a pretty good song, I have to say. Yeah. Then the next filler is this song is called "Age of Innocence," which is, to be honest, not as good as "Face in the Sand." It just feels a little bit weaker filler. It's just it's just my opinion. Then we get to the last song on the album, which is a song called "Journeyman," which is a very good song, I have to say. It's also the first song ever that they played acoustic instruments, where it's an all acoustic song, which is very different from what Iron Maiden would normally do. Now, originally there's also an electric version. It was originally done electric, but then they also decided to do an acoustic version. They wanted to try doing some new stuff, and it's pretty much they do a pretty good job, I have to say. Yeah. Now, overall, Dance of Death, it's pretty good, but not as good as Brave New World, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just my opinion. It's a good album. You should totally go check it out. So I would give Dance of Death an 8 out of 10. Yeah. Later, guys.